Happy October, everybody. It's October 4th, and we're here for Tulariva Tuesday LA River Art. We're here at the LA River now. I've put all my stuff here. This is the LA River, and you can see the 5 freeways behind, and Griffith Park is off in the distance. Griffith Park's the biggest park inside any major city in the United States. These buttresses here were made by the Army Corps of Engineers. They're to prevent flooding during an El Nino year, and they put them in about last April. I think they're going to keep them here this winter as well. Sometimes I climb over these to get down to the LA River, but I think today I'll just lay out my acrylic paints on top of these, and I'll paint right from this spot. So that's the plan for today. Acrylic colors here. We're here at LA River with a view of Griffith Park, and I'm going to put down the acrylic colors first. I'm going to sketch it some, and then once I sketch it, then we'll lay down these colors. That will be our composition. So I think what I'll do is I'll begin sketching in part of this here. Maybe have this go right in here, this here, down this way, sketch this way, and sketch this here. Then we'll have these trees coming up here. They're nicer when they turn in fall colors than what they are here. And then we'll have some of the river here. And that's our beginning sketch. Just climbed over this berm because I've decided that I wanted to get down closer to the river. So I'm going to go down here to the river where there's a lot of geese and things and paint closer to the river. So this is what I'm going to do, and we're going to find another spot closer to the water. Here we are directly at the LA River now, and you can see some geese out here that are quite fat. They've spent the whole summer here, and I'm ready to do my line drawing for this. It's going to be a little different than originally what I had planned, but I sort of like the view of the river here a little better. I may, I'm not sure, I may cut off part of this hill at the top, and in order to get some of this back here. And there's still not a lot of fall color here, but there's some nice blue in the river, but I prefer to have the fall color. Anyway, and we'll see if we can get some of these geese in here, depending on how cooperative they are. And so that's our beginning sketch. So I've added sort of the sky here. I've done horizontal stripes for the sky, because the sky is horizontal, and I've added some down here in the water. The water is in places sort of blue and in places sort of green. So I'm sort of trying to make the water look a little bit more complex. So it's not, I started in with just one solid blue, and now I'm sort of making layers on top of it to make it a little more interesting. This is basically, you know, the water in the distance reflects more of the sky, so it's a little bit more blue, and in closer to where I'm standing, it doesn't reflect the sky as much, so it's a little more green. I'm going to add a little bit of, what I'm doing is I'm just doing layering here on the water so that it looks a little more three-dimensional, you know, a little more interesting. So that's what I'm doing here in this. Over on this section, I'm adding more of a tan color. I'm going to later add some trees in here, and they're going to have to be a little different. I may even add some red to the trees that may be a little darker red than what you actually see. This way we're gonna get some trees in here. Let me add a couple of colors to the trees, and in a minute you'll see we put the trees back in. So we've added a lot of the rocks to the river, and we've added these little patches of plants that are floating in the river that have a lot of highlights to them. I'm adding a little more highlights now, because I want these distinguished from the river in that they look like plants rather than water here. They have to be sticking up out of the river and hopefully have a little bit of yellow in them. So I'm stealing little yellow things from other places in the painting to put these in these plant areas that are floating. Also, I noticed that on the mountain there's some sort of green trees in places, and so I'm going to add a little, I think almost with my finger, to add in what these trees look like. And they sort of follow areas of the mountain. Some of them are up on the hill. As they get closer to the hill, they sort of get crunched together a little bit. They're further apart down the hill. In California, these trees are never very big areas. They're just sort of little pockets that grow. Sometimes if they're up on the hill, once again you'll see something like that. And I'm not putting on all of them that I see because later I'm going to add a little bit of they sort of follow in a way the curve of the slope, but they sort of go in irregular ways too. Some of them are coming down here a little bit. I'm later going to add some color and shadow to these. I want them to sort of follow the flow of the mountain, but not quite exactly. They'll probably look better once I add sort of shadow to them. This area I put in a lot of reds, and because I want this part to be green and I want this part to be red. I'm going to add even now these shadows have a little bit of purple. Now you'll notice that a lot of these have these cattails and these cane plants that sort of billow in the wind, and they have a real vertical component to them, and they go all the way down. So once again, I'm putting in some of these here, especially where I have. Now I'm adding some of these vertical components that you see with these cane plants that go along the river, and so there's sort of light areas that I've sort of put in a little bit of streaked thing, and I've accentuated them as more yellow just for the sake of composition, because I want things to pop more. I've also put in some trees up on the mountain with some sort of purpley shadows. When I get the oil on, I'm going to probably diminish that a little bit so it's not quite so strong, because I need to push it back into the background a little bit, and so a little bit of touch of blue will add some atmosphere to that. Parts of this are still wet down here, but I'm pretty close to being able to having it dry enough to do the oil layers now. So I'm going to start the oil layer pretty soon. I'll see you when I do the oil layer. So I've added a little bit of Prussian blue in here, that's this darker color here, to try to create some sort of shadows there on the water. I've also added it here under the rocks because you get a little bit of reflection under the rocks. But in addition to the reflection under the rocks, you get a little bit of reflection. You see a touch of the rock under the water. So it's important to put in some of this lighter color here underneath the rock to try to create that feeling that the rock is actually under the water. Now, it may be that I have to go back in and I get it a little too light and I may have to break it up a little. But this is basically what we do to try to create the feeling that the rock is a little bit under the water. And it may just be a process of going back and forth. You know, you may get a little bit too light and then have to get it a little darker or put in some more green. And the process just goes back and forth. But that's basically the process there. I've added up in the mountains a little bit more detail to the trees. I've kept it looking, you know, you see some of these shadows here, and they sort of pop, and I want it looking a little bit abstract, not really too controlled, because in a way that pushes it further from your view. So we've added some of these. If I get a chance to get a goose to come up over here, I might add a goose as well. But right now we don't have any that are real close by, so we're just sort of starved for geese at the moment. I'm going to add a little bit of blue in some of this because there is some blue in this water, and it's nice to sort of highlight it in places. Now that didn't come out real blue, but let's see what we can get here. I'm going to add with my other brush a touch more of this Prussian blue here, not in a straight line, but here and there, because it helps describe some of these shapes. It creates a shadow. I have to then come in with another color, something a little lighter green, to try to blend that out, because I don't want it quite so strong. And sometimes I'll use really quite a light green here, because we're getting some reflection here. So that Prussian blue comes through. Now if I ruin the look of that, I can always come in with a little yellow as well, try to re-establish that coming down into the water, because we don't want a straight line there, you know, we want it sort of broken up. So sometimes it's good to do that a little bit. We want this to look like something coming up out of here. So it's just a matter of working it back and forth. Remember, on the water, I'm always going basically horizontal. On these plants, I'm going sort of vertical. So there, I like that a little better. I'd like to get a little more blue in places in this water. There, that looks nice there. Because what you're getting is you're getting some light off of the water, and it's reflecting. So you're getting some of this blue sky. All right, so that's it for that. We added these cattails. I used a palette knife. I used bright yellow with some purple and then a little bit of green and orange. I added cattails over here, and then I smeared some of them out. They had a lot of purple in them. But you get the feeling of a lot of movement and sort of chaotic movement here. I'm touching up some of the rocks a little bit to add a sort of a mid-value tone in them in places. You know, we've already done the rocks where we've done, you know, the dark part, the light part. We've put the Prussian blue under sections of it. and now we're just sort of, we've also sort of highlighted some of these in the water so that you can see them in the water. And now I'm just adding a little bit of stuff to them, just a little bit better, make them a little bit more natural, a little more varied in color. And then we've added a lot of the water in the background. These are sort of these things that are growing out in front. We've added a lot of that Prussian blue back here. I think the whole piece is pretty close to being done. You know, you can always keep fiddling with them, but the problem is sometimes you fiddle too much and you don't really do much good after a while. I think these add a lot because they lead you into the painting, and they also sort of join together the water, the trees, the mountain, and the sky so that it unifies the composition. I like these sort of dark underpinnings, which are probably a little exaggerated from what they are in real life, but I think that leads you up into the painting and maybe down into the water. This tree leads you back into the painting. I don't think I'll do much more with these. The trees in the background are a very sort of abstract looking, and that's fine because that pushes them back visually. If they were too bright of, too dark of color, or too precisely done, it would lead you too much to them. So I think we're pretty much being done with this. I might do some little touch-ups in the studio in places, but I can't really foresee a great deal more to do with this painting. I think it's pretty much done.